What if all of us came together to do something incredible? An anthem made from all of us.
There's a feeling for me and you. You can do.
Here's to the us in every tasker.
Furahia na jamii yako. Okoa dakika masaa yako.
A very good evening and thank you for joining us for the Uniconnect News at 9. I'm your host Wambui Wanjiko.
And I'm Mr. Mutla. Now, in one of our stories, we take a look at the Matwana culture, the vibrancy it brings to the city, and the lives it has impacted. But first, the headlines.
The cost of living continues to rise steadily, particularly in urban areas, impacting housing, transportation, and everyday expenses. The Kenyatta University blood drives kicks off to a good start as donors show up in large numbers. End of an era transitioning from NHIF to SHIF.
Tuna shift kutoka kwa NHIF twende kwa Swift, sijui inaitwa Swift. Yeah.
Hard fighting Kariobangi Sharks deal Tuskers titles hopes a blow.
The cost of living is a multifaceted issue affecting millions. Families across various socio-economic backgrounds bear the brunt, struggling to afford basic necessities. The cost encompasses housing, food, education, healthcare, and transportation, with prices steadily rising. Urban centers like Nairobi experience the highest costs, followed by smaller towns and rural areas.
Due to inflation and economic fluctuations, families have resorted to budgeting, seeking multiple sources of income and community support to cope with the financial strain.
Take a look.
Amid high cost of fuel prices, increased transport costs, and increased food prices, among other societal issues, the country is in a tough spot. The cost of living in the country is high. Many people are also living hand to mouth and are asking whether this will end or it is part of the new normal. For Kimani, a boda guy who operates in the Nairobi CBD, the situation is devastating. He is worried about low business and increased responsibilities on his part.
Unga inakuwa hata kama itatoka na shilingi 5, pande ya mafuta unanyang'anywa. Hakuna maisha inakuwa rahisi. Hiyo pesa ukikosa kununua pande nyingine ishuki.
John Kamau, a citizen, also shared similar sentiments.
Watoto wanaenda wanafukuzwa kwa shule. Sasa tunashindwa, kwani hii maisha yetu ni gani?
Meanwhile, Kenyans have to grapple through the situation and hope for the best that the economy will soon stabilize. Beryl Uniconnect TV.
The Association of Kenyatta University Medical Students, ACOMS, has today launched a 4-day blood drive campaign at the Kenyatta University main campus. The campaign, which is aimed at ensuring blood security in the country, targeted students and staff alike.
The event, which took months of preparation in conjunction with other associations in the university, was off to a good start.
The Association of Kenyatta University Medical Students, in partnership with other clubs in Kenyatta University, once again came together to organize the annual blood drive. The event, which is set to take place across several stations in KU over a period of 4 days, kicked off today.
We hold this event yearly, and it seems that the reception was good because people do ask about the event. There are people who want to donate blood, but they don't know how to do it correctly, and some of them are also scared about where they have to donate their blood. If I go to a hospital, will be my blood given to people for free, or will it be sold? The fact that we have the KTTA here, we ensure the students that their blood is well received, it will be stored properly, and it will reach to people in need when needed.
According to Judy Mwangi, the Deputy Finance Officer at ACUMS, the blood collected during the campaign will be taken to the Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority for cold storage.
I'm hoping that by Friday we will be able to have contributed nationally in saving lives through blood donation, and we are hoping to reach a target of around 2,000 blood bags collected.
The students donating the blood were guided to answer a questionnaire before taking the needle. This is to ensure that the blood being donated is safe. Even so, an officer from the Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority assured that the blood undergoes a series of tests before being given to a patient.
What is your message to other KU students out there who have not yet come to donate blood?
They should come because it's a simple procedure, painless, and it's a way of giving back to the society because it boosts the healthcare.
As day one of the Kenyatta University blood drive comes to a close, the organizers are hopeful that the turnout will remain high. Winston Odhiambo, Uniconnect TV.
Despite a court order, the government has today approved the mandatory use of the e-citizen platform for school fee payments, sparking frustrations among parents.
Many express concerns about the lack of civic education, transparency, and the government's capacity to manage funds, raising the question about the implications of this directive.
In a controversial move by the Kenyan government, parents of school-going children are expressing frustration with the mandatory use of the e-citizen platform for fee payments. Despite a court order barring the government from compelling public institutions of learning to use the e-citizen platform, Cabinet has approved the rollout. Feeling slighted by the move, many parents are expressing frustration with the process.
Sikue kwa sababu wanasema shule ni ya bure. Mahali unasema uingie tena kwa citizen ni nini? Eleza watu. Kukuwe na mafunzo, watu wanakalishwa chini waambie unafaa kulipia hivi, unafaa kufanya hivi. Na ni kwa sababu hii pesa iko na manufaa gani? Lakini hizo pesa hazina impact yote, hata ukilipia wapi ama ulipia wapi. Pesa ni zile zile.
Others highlight a lack of adequate civic education on the e-citizen platform, which has led to confusion and difficulties in navigating the system for fee payments.
Hii mpango ya kulipia karo na e-citizen kwanza, hata kwanza wangefuta hiyo maneno kwanza. Juu kuna ule mzazi ajui maneno yote na cyber, ajui maneno yote na mtandao sio na e-citizen ajui. Sasa ukimwambia sasa aanze kuweka pesa na e-citizen, labda hata anaenda kulipa shilingi 200. Kila sasa hiyo atafikaje nayo kwa e-citizen? Ataanzaje kuaccess hiyo maneno ya cyber ya nini juu ya shilingi 200 peke yake? Na ule mwenye ako mashinani na yeye story na e-citizen ataanza aje? Kwa hivyo mimi kwangu e-citizen.
Others have raised concerns about the government's capacity to effectively manage the funds collected through this platform, especially in light of the country's history of corruption.
Serikali sasa iko na njaa mbaya sana. Inataka kuchukua pesa kila mahali. Hata mshwari wacha ni nyingine. Hata mshwari wanachukua pesa. Lakini hatujui mahali hiyo pesa inaenda. Haina impact hata kidogo.
Even as the government charges through, parents remain adamant about their concerns regarding the directive, calling for further civic education, transparency, and safeguards to address the potential challenges associated with the mandatory use of the e-citizen platform for school fee payments. Monari Magoto, Uniconnect TV, Nairobi.
The Kenyatta University Career Week 2024, whose theme is leveraging technology and entrepreneurship for an evolving job market, finally kicked off today. The Career Week is an annual event held in Kenyatta University meant to enlighten students on matters career and link them to the corporate world. The event covers a broader aspect from HR, public lectures, to innovation and corporates. The event is organized by the Directorate of Career Development and Mentoring Programs in conjunction with Kenyatta University Students Association. This year, however, students have raised concerns over the organization of the event, highlighting its reduced popularity, which resulted to low student turnout.
Not as vibrant as I would have expected. Like I expected more tents, expected more companies and corporates to be here, expected a bit of more speeches, and I feel like we could have gotten more speakers for this event.
The 7-day event is expected to run till the 2nd of February 2024.
The ruling by the Court of Appeal on Friday, 19th of January 2024, to lift the ban imposed on the implementation of the Social Health Insurance Fund has initiated the first step into achieving the Universal Health Coverage Initiative by the Kenya Kwanza government.
The SHIF registrations are set to commence on March 1st, 2024, with all Kenyans above the age of 18 required to register biometrically with the Social Health Authority.
The Social Health Insurance Fund, which forms part of the recently enacted Social Health Insurance Act, is set to replace the decades-old National Health Insurance Fund (NHIF). The introduction of the SHIF marks a pivotal moment in the nation's journey towards universal healthcare coverage, but most Kenyans have expressed their doubts with the scheme, terming it as a scheme for the government to embezzle funds.
Tuna shift kutoka kwa NHIF tuende kwa shift, sijui inaitwa shift. Hata wajaelezea watu ni nini wanapeleka watu huko. Ni ukora fulani imetengenezwa. Ni kama tu vile unaweza badilishiwa menu, lakini chakula ni ile yenye unakula. Sioni kitu tofauti na hiyo.
The rollout of the SHIF, which had been stopped by the High Court last November, following a petition filed by businessman Joseph Enoch Aora, will see salaried Kenyans part ways with 2.75% as deductions of their salaries. Under the new SHIF model, salaried workers earning 20,000 Kenyan shillings are expected to pay 550 from the previous 750 Kenyan shillings, while workers earning 50,000 are expected to pay 1,375 from the previous 1,200, those earning 500,000 and 1 million to pay 13,750 and 27,500 respectively from the previous 1,700. These contributions are expected to round off to 77 billion Kenyan shillings on gross salaries, while the government is set to provide an additional 45 billion Kenyan shillings per year. With the implementation of the new Social Health Insurance Act, doubts now linger in the minds of many Kenyan women over the fate of the Linda Mama scheme due to the failure of it being mentioned in the new universal healthcare coverage laws. Hassan Yusuf, Uniconnect TV.
Thank you very much, Yusuf, for that story. We now take our first break here on Uniconnect News. Still more to come.
You wouldn't accept this at your favorite restaurant, so why accept it from your network? Airtel, the smartphone network.
Start your
Linked matatus, or as they are popularly known, manyanga, have been and still a significant aspect of the city's vibrant culture. With new matatus being released almost every week, it is becoming much easier to notice the artsy outlooks, booming music, and even louder touts.
In our feature tonight, we explore how beyond being a source of income for the youth, matatu culture has also become one of the major mediums of creative expressions.
We met up with the crew members of Nightness, a matatu that plies the 3560 Umoja route, who gave us more insight into the matatu culture and what it means to them.
If you're familiar with Nairobi, then you must know that the streets are mostly synonymous with graffiti sheet mini vehicles and buses. Known as matatus, these vehicles are the go-to for transit within the city and beyond. They are usually associated with artsy outlooks, booming music, and even louder touts. But while these features are instantly visible to a passerby, the Kenyan matatu is a representative of more. Beyond the graffitied van walls, which range from retro to modern innovative designs, they are also the portrayal of the essence in the Kenyan urban landscape. A demonstration of the people's dispositions and inspiration at a particular moment in time. The habit of decorating using guerrilla art became prominent in Nairobi in the early 2000s, going with the mood in the country at the time, which was the newly found sense of freedom. Fueled by the end of a 24-year dictatorial reign, young people embraced the feeling by making their presence felt through this kind of artistry. Although the matatu as a means of transport had been around from back in the 60s, around this period it underwent a kind of renaissance. This became a normal practice over the years. Images of musicians, actors, and at times historical figures would constantly appear pimped out on the matatus that seemed to not only increase in numbers as the urban population increased. In recent years, beyond being a source of income for artists, matatu art has also become one of the major mediums of creative expression for the youth. We met up with the crew members of Nightness, a matatu that plies the 3560 Umoja route, who gave us more insight into the matatu culture and what it means to them.
Ilipata addiction to ile mtu unajua mimi nimegrow up nikichekio manyanga from Niso hadi hizi gari big. So ni kitu ilikuwa.
Mimi ni dereva wa Nightness. Ndio naingia kwa kampuni ya Kamata Family, nashukuru. Hiyo unaona hiyo kutambua manyanga kwa hizi gari si ati ni za rika fulani. Na si ati lazima ukue wa rika fulani ndio ujienjoy. Hii maisha inataka ujibambe.
Manyanga kwa gazi zimepatiwa first priority. Manyanga zibebe kwanza, mititebu yenye inajiweza sasa ndio itakuja nyuma yake. Alafu sasa kuna zile gari zifuata namba.
Ka utimo hivi.
Hata pia kwa Umoina kuna gari zinafuata namba, utimo pia zinafuata. So kuna kwa na tofauti. Kuna hizi tunaona hizi magari mgongo. Hizo sasa ndio za kufuata namba. Kama hizi akina naso. Hizo ni za kuja kudunga kazi, na hizo ni za kukula haraka. Alafu sasa kuna hizi mamititebo manyanga zinakulanga nyuma. Zichupeza zikangi sana kwa stage kupitisha flow gari pia zitoke mingi zikiendelea.
At first, the culture was seen as a substandard rebelliousness, maybe due to the long-held perception of those in the matatu industry as inconspicuous, but the art is there to change the view. It tells of people long perceived as unpleasant, but are really not. What informs that which is drawn on those van walls is their own nature. The art is a narration of a generation's sense of artistic freedom in the city and its environs.
Nimelelewa Umo. Tumeishi tu kuishi na mama 3, tunaziona hadi from mtoto hadi watu wa saizi wanaona hizi. So kuna venye tu ikakuja ikakuwa influence. Dinga unaweza kama mtu. Sikona mtu ako na macho, uko na mapua, uko na mdomo, uko na viatu. That's what ina apply hapo. Kuna macho, mapua, kofia, kuna viatu, it tells so much, but at the end of the day unaiangalia niko unaangalia some kuna dihaga, kuna ass, kuna hips, side steps. There's so much by the way, ina entail a lot. So kama hapa naweza kuambia almost everything inaweza pata kwa manyanga.
Manyanga inaenda skuli kadhaa kushinda hizi gari zingine. Na pia bei yake iko tofauti na hizi zingine. Mkulima kawaida. Kama manyanga hizi zinaweza piga skuli 11, 12. Hizi mid-table manyanga zinaweza piga 8 ama. Alafu hizi magari za ngora hizo skuli 5, 6.
There are 3 main SACCOs that operate in Umoja, which include Umoina, Utimo, and Salty. Night Nurse is registered under Umoina SACCO, and most of its crew members grew up in Umoja. Being part of a crew means commitment to the role that you are assigned, whether it's a driver, a conductor, or one that directs customers to a particular matatu, popularly known as kama gears.
Hizi gari huko wamegawana kikru. Kuna wale wenye ubaki wanajazisha gari, kuna wale wa kuteremka na gari na kuna wale wa kuitafutia rada. Alafu kuna wale wa kuwekesha watu, wale customer wa hiyo gari. Sasa hizi gari zinakuanga tu au makroto huko bana kazi. Si ati wote tu hapa wamejipanga. Kuna wale sasa wana gari na move on ndio wanaenda nayo chini. Kuna wale wanachukua rada kule gari iko vimali itapitia sipatane na jamaa. Alafu kuna wale wenye unapataga ni kuchukua yule anatambua ile gari. So unapata huyo anayekuwa hapa juu nas, huyo anatambua nas, wanakuwa pamoja na hiyo.
She said you live like a bachelor, so what? Sold 100 pounds and gave 10% to the pastor. Keep going up the ladder. They mad, make them mad.
Heri unipatie gari ya pesa mingi nitafute kushinda unipatie gari ya do kidogo yenye nitashindwa kusaka. Nipatie gari ya do niambie ni ngiri mbao kama hii niambie ni ya do mingi. Lakini sasa kutafuta do, unajua hii gari ni rahisi kutafuta do, lakini si ati ni ngumu kutafuta do na hiyo mzee. Unaona? Kila mtu anakuanga na ligi yake. Mimi hiyo unaweza nipatia mimi nishindwe kupiga mboka. Tuko sana ngene bure. Lakini gari kama hii mimi napiga hesabu zangu, napiga zako na pesa yako inafika.
Sio tuanze umo. Mimi mtu kama mimi nilianzia uta route 23 nikaenda Dando, toka Dando nikakuja umo. Na chuma zote nimeenda nazo zote ni mbaya mbaya. Sasa natambua chuma niko nayo. Ile chuma niko nazo ndio natambua. Lakini kwanza ile polisi sasa sijai sawa polisi siku zote. Polisi ni ya Dando. Experience zote ziko tu sawa, lakini umo kuna mchecheto. Umo sasa mchecheto ndio kuko.
Nairobi, the city under the sun, is a place synonymous with the signification of delights, vivid aspirations, and achievable dreams. What Matwana artistic culture has provided is a tool for the revelation of the distinct nature of a city and an avenue to shout this out. The 21st century Nairobian youth has found an outlet that is profound and unique.
In a moving demonstration of unity and reflection, various Kenyans assembled at the Dark Valentine's Vigil to pay homage to the victims of femicide and advocate for change. The vigil, held at the University of Nairobi, served as a solemn tribute to those lost to gender-based violence.
The event, characterized by candlelight, crimson roses, and heartfelt pleas for action, aimed to exert pressure on legislative bodies to address the urgent demands outlined in a petition. This impactful gathering not only honored the lives of women tragically lost, but also emphasized the critical necessity for reforms to combat the troubling trend of femicide in the nation.
End femicide in Kenya. End femicide in Kenya. End femicide in Kenya. End femicide in Kenya. Today we are having
Kenya has witnessed a surge in cases of intentional killing of women, and this has sparked the conversation on end femicide. The University of Nairobi organized a Dark Valentine event to honor the victims of senseless killings and raise consciousness about the impact of femicide.
Why? My fingers.
The event brought together both men and women of diverse backgrounds who share the same resolve to address the scourge of femicide. The Dark Valentine was charged with optimism and empowerment despite the sad shadow cast by the reality of femicide in Kenya. The various speakers vowed to stand in solidarity and work towards a safer future for all women.
We want to know kama judiciary wako na sisi ama wanatu betray. We want to know kama president mpaka sasa hajaongea ako na sisi ama anatu betray. We want to know kama first lady wako na sisi kama wanatu betray. Venye naelewa hata ukiwa Mkristo, wewe ni Muislamu, hakuna dini inasema wanawake tuuliwe juu ya choices zetu.
Femicide not only robs women of their lives, but also leaves a lasting impact on families. Children who are affected by femicide often suffer long-term trauma, and we got to hear from one of the victims.
And my mama became a statistic as one of the butchered women hitting the headlines.
The event also included a hashtag Say Her Name, where despite their victims' names fading from the headlines, their names would live on as a reminder of the urgent need to address this epidemic.
Massimo Gore, say her name. Jasmine Joki, say her name. Oh my God.
The organizers also mentioned that there was a motion tabled in the county assembly in a bid to demand action against femicide in Kenya.
Successfully tabled a petition in the county assembly of Nairobi. All MCAs, and if they're here, all of you MCAs, femicide should be the first thing you talk about on Monday.
In the face of this grim reality, only through our collective efforts shall we create a world where all women are valued, respected, and protected from harm. Diana Wamboi, Uniconnect TV, Nairobi.
The demographics of victims of femicide in Kenya show that women aged 18 to 40 form the largest percentage of victims, and in most cases the murderer is a friend, relative, or an intimate partner of the murdered woman.
Now, today in studio we are joined by a community engagement coordinator, Amy Thandi, and a human rights activist, Momo Kimwele. Now, Amy, to start off with you, what do you think are some of the root causes causing the increase of femicide cases in Kenya?
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your program. As Crew Kenya, this is something we're extremely passionate about as human rights activists, and especially during this tough time where women are experiencing a lot of violence, even resulting in femicide. And it is also very important that we acknowledge that there are certain root causes that have caused this ongoing epidemic of femicide. And I would like to emphasize on two major points because I feel like these are the foundations of what has been causing whatever has been going on in Kenya. And number one is gender inequality, because this is something that people take for granted and it's an ongoing problem in school, at the workplace, and even in our own homes, where the male is considered the alpha or the one who has a say in the situation. So we find that in the case of the homestead, the women are subjected are the subject or the minority in the home, such that they do not even have the economic power to support themselves in this situation. So they tend to stay in an abusive household. They don't have the financial freedom to go outside and vent for themselves, for their kids. So they would opt to stay in an abusive homestead. So this gender inequality or this absurd social construct has really become a cornerstone for femicide in Kenya. I would also like to say about the legal frameworks that we have, or even the public officials that we have who do not really care about this ongoing epidemic. And it's a problem. People are so focused on the politics and on the economy, on the taxes. They don't really look at the minor issues that are ongoing in Kenya. So you'd find, like recently there was a femicide march at Givenchy Gardens. There was a Nairobi women rep who went there, but she was shunned and heckled because she has not been taking action until the absolute last moment. And that is a legal problem. This is something that they need to address. Yes.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Momo, could you kindly tell us what are the existing gaps that are in the legal framework in matters related to femicide?
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Uniconnect. You see, for femicide, it has come to the limelight lately in this 2023. But as we try to sensitize people around the country and talk about femicide, we tell them that this is a long-lasting issue in our country. It's been there. There have been so many cases of femicide that have not been covered in the past. We have so many cases of femicide which have not been seen. But when it comes to legal and legislation and justice for the victims of femicide, you find that there is a long delays of cases in the court. Because first, we don't encourage victims of, actually they are survivors, because in most cases, when we talk femicide, we talk about intentional killing. So it means that in most cases, people who are subjected to these femicide issues normally die. But the survivors or the family members who are left behind, they are not given a platform whereby they can channel these cases to the court. And when they are taken, according to a data that has been done by African Census, we have seen that it usually takes around 1900 days. That's a long time before a case starts in a court. And that's just for a normal case, without talking about the appeals which are normally done by the perpetrators. And there are a lot of other gaps in that the data that we use to analyze these cases are usually given by the media houses. And there are gaps that media houses will only give you a few cases. So there are also very many other cases which have not been seen because media has not highlighted them. And this happens in that the media houses usually take just for the first appearance of a perpetrator in the court, and then they don't cover it again, and that case disappears. And then it will take a long time. There could be other cases like disappearances of files, officers being transferred during this long period of justice, and you find that many of them will not get this justice. And even once it comes when it's a man, because we think that for a man, we don't even think for it as a femicide. And many men who have been subject of femicide, there are very few cases compared to those of women. Because as a man, you are ridiculed by the society. Why should you go to a court because of such kind of a thing? And they are kept off the bar. Talking about bringing these people into justice, it usually does not happen, and mostly the cases which we normally see are those of prominent people. Talk about the case of Sharon Otieno and the governor Obado. During that case, there were so many other cases which were undergoing, but we never went to look at these other cases because of this one prominent case which is overshadowing the other cases which are still ongoing in the courts. And so far, according to the data that we have collected, as we have tried to champion for end of femicide in the country, we have not seen any one case of justice that has been awarded accordingly for the victims of femicide.
So, in your opinion, the justice system is failing in Kenya?
It's not just failing. It's a banana state. It's something that in our country, in that we lack the education that femicide itself is ongoing. It's even something that amazes me to see that even the leaders and the political leaders who are at the helm, and leave alone about the judicial services and the justice in the courts, they are not even aware that we have femicide. They don't care. And when we talk about it, we talked about femicide from January 2023. And the president has never commented, even on a single day, about femicide in the country. It's like even he doesn't know what is femicide. The parliament has not passed any law. There could be a law by an MP thinking about criminalizing it, because currently it's not criminalized in our constitution, to make femicide a criminal offense. They don't care, those guys. They don't pass these laws in the parliament to criminalize this offense. The leaders don't care. So when we go to court, it's just like a normal case between somebody who are fighting for a land. But it's a serious issue. It involves a murder. In this country, as at now, completely, I can say without fear, from what I've seen on the ground, we do not have people championing for end of femicide. The courts are failing us, the parliament is failing us, and the executive is extremely failing us.
Thank you very much.
Now, Amy, back to you. What is your organization involved in to promote community development in an effort to address the end of femicide?
So Crew Kenya is working its hardest to take certain initiatives in order to try and reduce the number of gender-based violence cases as a result of femicide. And number one, we have conducted a certain mobilization of people. For instance, we were part of the recent Dark Valentine. I don't know if you are familiar with that. It happened in the University of Nairobi, where we just brought a community of people together to have a place where they can relay their feelings, and we could also educate them that this is an ongoing crisis and it's something that needs to be dealt with promptly. We also have community support systems where victims of gender-based violence, like I said before, this mostly occurs in the homestead, and the woman is not able to she's in a position where she cannot support herself. So we create an environment where these women can come to our organization, and we can provide the legal, the shelter services that they would require in order to combat this gender-based violence or whatever they have gone through in the past. We also have capacity building, where we have workshops, we have ongoing workshops where people can come in and we can train them on what to do, who to reach whenever they have undergone a certain gender violence towards them.
Speaking of engagement, are you also bringing forward boys and men to involve them in the fight?
Yes. According to statistics, we find that most perpetrators are of the male gender. So we are trying our best to educate the men, because you would find that in our society today, men also feel as if they're being attacked because everybody is viewing them as this villain, as this perpetrator, as this bad person. But in reality, we are just trying to open the minds of society to realize that it is mostly men that are attacking women, and it's something that needs to change. We need to educate our boys from a tender age. We need to mold them in order to grow up to men who respect women. Yes.
Thank you for that, Amy.
Now, to the last question, Mr. Mamo, how can we combine these community engagements and the legal policies in place to help fight on femicide?
Thank you very much. That's a good question. First, even before the coordination, we need to build a capacity for our laws to exist and to make sure that these laws in place can help combat cases of femicide in our country. And for the legal policy advisors and the lawyers and the judiciary, working together with the people like him, the NGOs and other activist groups who are working together, we should bring these people together and tell people that femicide is not a one-sided issue. Actually, I agree with what she says, but you find that it's not that the cases are usually, we cannot classify perpetrators by gender, by saying that men are usually the perpetrators. Everybody is a victim. If a mother is a subject of femicide, it means that a son has lost a mother, and is also a victim of femicide. So working together with the people and sensitizing them and telling them that, especially the victims and the people who are left behind, and telling them that you have the right to speak. Because when things happen like this, there is a lot of fear, and people want to go back and they don't want to speak about it. and especially in the remote areas. We need to tell them, come out. It's in your rights for you to stand and speak for your own rights, and there is a way that we can give you a platform for you to call out these people and be given your rights in that capacity. So when we talk about engaging with NGOs and the government, and also sensitizing the people and telling them that come out as witnesses, because in many cases that are brought in courts, we find that the men fail because we lack the witnesses. People don't want to come out and say that I'm a witness to this, because most of what happens in homes. And there is that kind of a relationship that you don't want to go and testify against a family member. You want to tell them that you are standing for a right. You are standing to end another femicide in the future in another home or in your own home.
That's true. It's clear that there is still more that we need to do as a nation in this fight against femicide.
I'd like to thank Amy and Momo for joining us today on that insightful panel discussion. We do hope that it was indeed informative and helpful, and will help drive the fight to end femicide.
Mommy! What did you put in my shirt? A toss of lavender and a world of freshness.
Wash your clothes with Toss Lavender to leave your clothes with a lasting, irresistible freshness.
Indomie, Kenya's most loved noodles. Rahisi na haraka kuitayarisha. Kwa dakika tatu pata mlo mtamu. Chicken flavor, beef flavor utapenda. Ni rahisi kutayarisha. Kwa dakika tatu tu. Tamu sana. Indomie, furahia na jamii yako. Indomie, okoa dakika masaa yako. Indomie.
In the world of business today, Kenya's annual inflation eased to a 2-year low after the currency's world-beating streak helped rein on important factors.
For more on this story, joining us now is Bloomberg's financial journalist, Idris Maleba. Good evening, Idris.
Good evening, Winston Omondi and Wanjiku. Thank you for having me.
Likewise. Now, Idris, what factors have contributed to the slowdown in consumer prices?
Well, several things have contributed to the decline in prices. One of them has been a steady decline in prices of food, transport, water, electricity, and gas prices over the last year from March 2023 to March 2024. Other factors include great weather. Kenyans anticipate heavy rains, which should be good for agriculture production and also boost hydropower production for easing the prices of food and electricity moving forward. The government has also set aside money for subsidizing fertilizers and seeds, which is also aimed at boosting food production. But most importantly, they also cut gasoline prices by 3.5%, meaning that the transport costs have gone down from 10.8% to 9.5%. But earlier on in the intro, you mentioned that the Kenyan shilling has been steadily gaining against the dollar. And this has eased a lot of prices because Kenya is a heavy importer of both food and non-food items.
Idris, talk to us about the significant gains of the shilling and what are behind these gains.
The most dramatic gains in East Africa, so to say, We saw the Kenyan shilling take a beating from the dollar for the last 4 years, but in the last month, it has appreciated massively against the dollar. If we were to quantify, 19%, and it went from a low of about 165 to the dollar to trading at around 130, 132, maximum 135, and this is absolutely great news for Kenya. Some of the reasons behind this gain include the new Eurobond issuance of about $1.5 billion that was used to repurchase the Eurobond that is due in June. So that has elevated the fear of default. Kenya also put out an infrastructure bond that was valued at nearly $500 million. But most importantly, we have also seen that the Central Bank of Kenya has hiked its rate to a total of 250 basis points. So this has helped to tighten the conditions in the country. And because of this ease in inflation, we are likely to see that the central bank could be persuaded to hold their rates at about 13% on 2nd April next week when they meet.
Thank you, Idris, for that informative insight.
Thank you as well. Looking forward to the next time.
Students from the Department of Film and Communication are the new winners of the Creative Arts Tournament 2024. The tournament that is organized by the Congressperson of the School of Creative Arts was held at the Kenyatta University Rugby Grounds on 8th March 2024. The champions secured their prize after thrashing the music team by a 0-0 in a heavily contested final. The annual tournament is an interdepartmental competition that brings together students from the 5 departments of the School of Creative and Performing Arts.
The Creative Arts Tournament 2024. The joint team of the Department of Film, Media and Communication has been crowned champions of the Creative Arts Interdepartmental Tournament after beating the music team by a 0-0 in the finals. The captain of the film and media team attributed their win to good defensive organization and individual brilliance.
In training since we opened the semester, so we have been training. The last game we lost, typically because most of our talents were not around. So today we were full squad, and that contributed to our winning. I can also attribute our winning to individual brilliance, because we had a good winger who had good crosses, we had a good striker who scored goals.
The one-day event brings together students from the Department of Music, Fine Arts, Fashion, Film, Communication and Media. The competition is organized in 2 pools knockout matches, with the winners of each pool advancing directly to the finals. Pool A brought together the winners and runners-up of the 2022 tournament, that is Fine Arts versus the joint team of Film, Media and Communication. The Film, Media and Communication team secured a spot in the finals with a narrow 1-0 win against the Fine Arts team. Pool B brought together the fashion and music teams. The music team stole the show after thrashing their opponents 5-0. According to the Congressperson of the School of Creative and Performing Arts, the main objective of organizing the event was to bring unity among students of all the departments.
I organized this tournament as a tool to unite the 5 departments of the School of Creative Arts, and also to kill the monotony to kill the class monotony.
With the film and media team finishing as champions and the music team as runners-up, the fashion and fine arts had to settle for 3rd and 4th place respectively. The prize fund of this year's tournament, unlike in the previous tournaments, was distributed to all participating teams, with the winners bagging a prize fund of 7,000.
The first winner is going to get 7,000, the second one 3,000, then for the 3rd and 4th position are going to receive 2,000 each.
The tournament provided the perfect platform for students to showcase their talents on and off the pitch. The event provided a glimpse of how good the school can improve moving forward, provided the same leadership and organization is applied in the events to come. Hassan Yusuf, Uniconnect TV.
Football Kenya Federation Premier League side Kariobangi Sharks claimed a hard-fought 3-2 win over title-ambitious Tusker in a match played at Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos on Saturday, April 6, 2024. Tusker were fighting for a win that would have potentially closed the 8-point gap with Gor Mahia, but ended up dropping crucial points. That was all in the world of sports. Back to you, Odhiambo.
Do you know why the front seat at Nganyas is always reserved?
No, do tell why.
Well, I might just, but that's a story for another day.
That has been our time on Uniconnect News. Catch us tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a lovely night.